Hey guys, welcome to the Binge Zone. On today's video, we are going to be recapping Season 1 of Mindhunter. With Mindhunter Season 2 right around the corner, we could all use a little refresher, so let's dive into this recap. Season 1 starts off in Braddock, Pennsylvania, where FBI agent Holden Ford arrives on the scene of a hostage situation. The local police are having issues with Cody Miller, who's holding a woman and 4 other people as hostages, while demanding to speak to his wife. Holden makes some progress while talking to him and getting the police to move their perimeter back. Cody's wife shows up and tells him that Cody is suffering from mental illness and is normally a nice guy and non-violent. As Holden reaches out to try to help, Cody tells Holden that Holden can't help him, and Cody ends up offing himself. Holden then goes home to his empty apartment and tries to wash the blood from his white dress shirt, and he becomes frustrated by the stain before sitting in the dark and reflecting on his day. Holden is then seen walking to the FBI offices in Quantico, and his unit chief congratulates him on a job well done. Holden, however, is not satisfied because he could not have saved Cody's life, despite the fact that he did everything by the book. Holden's unit chief disagrees with Holden and tells him that the fact that he saved all the hostages is a win. However, he's still taking Holden off of active duty and has Holden now teaching classes full-time at Quantico. Holden then meets a college student by the name of Debbie, and shortly after meeting her, they begin dating as Holden becomes fascinated by her knowledge of criminology and social theory. He later meets veteran agent Bill Tench from the Behavioral Science Unit, and Tench offers Holden to join him as he travels to different police stations across the country to teach the local law enforcement new ways to deal with criminals. We are then introduced to a man wearing an ADT shirt working out of an office. This is a nod to the BTK serial killer who was active between 1974 and 1991. We then shift back to Holden and Tench on a plane to California, and Holden wants to meet with Charles Manson, and Tench dismisses it as no one can speak to Manson. While at the local police station, one of the cops suggests that Holden should speak to the co-ed killer Ed Kemper, as he is more accessible to speak to as opposed to Manson. And back at their motel, Tench refuses to go see Kemper with Holden, electing to play golf that day instead. Holden then visits Kemper and tries to get him comfortable and wants Kemper to share his thoughts, opinions, and insights as to why he committed his crimes and how other serial killers might think. On a subsequent visit, Tench goes along with Holden, and Holden gets Kemper to talk about his childhood and his mother and reveals why he killed her and the other woman because of how his mother made him feel. Later, as Holden tells his girlfriend Debbie what he learned, she invites him to meet her mother and wants to know more about Holden's mother. And Holden says he talks to his mom frequently and he actually likes his mom. Holden and Tench then tell their unit chief about their conversations with Kemper, and they make the process more official, but the unit chief moves them to the basement to keep their project secret. We later see the BTK killer Dennis mailing off a letter before driving away. Holden and Tench then visit Wendy Carr, a professor who agrees with what they're doing, and she believes that someone needs to be doing this study on criminals. With the knowledge they have gathered, Holden and Tench go back to California and they help them catch a sequence killer before he kills too many people. They go back and visit Kemper and they talk to him about his first kill. This time they bought a tape recorder. Wendy decides to join them at Quantico and be a part of the team. Holden and Tench then go visit another inmate who talks to them about all the women he has violated. After Holden and Tench are in a car accident, it's miraculous that they both survive. However, Tench is pissed that he didn't see the other car coming. Later, they share their recordings with Wendy, and together they analyze the tapes and come to the conclusion that inmates see themselves as the victims and not the criminals. And while traveling around the country, they are approached by more cops who ask for their help in solving cases. Wendy does not like this as she sees this as a waste of time. And the next day they are called into the unit chief's office and are informed that they have been awarded more money by Congress and their research is now being fully funded by the government. The guys later get involved in another police case where the fiance of Benjamin Barnwright is killed. After a series of investigations, they don't know whether Benjamin killed her or the primary suspect Frank killed the fiance. Wendy is then officially offered a position to join the FBI full-time to help Holden and Tench. Holden and Tench later struggle to communicate the meaning of their findings to the judicial system in the case between Benjamin and Franklin. And because the judicial system is flawed, Frank accepts a plea deal and Benjamin is sent to the electric chair. Later, Tench invites Debbie and Holden to his house for dinner where they watch the passive-aggressive relationship between Tench and his wife. Tench and Holden continue to interview serial killers as they come across Jerry Brudos. Brudos explains to them how tricky it can be when you are married. You either have to deny yourself or keep a private space, which Brudos does when it comes to his cross-dressing and his eventual murders. Brudos is then seen masturbating to completion over a pair of heels, which disgusts Tench yet intrigues Holden. Their conversation with Brudos reflects later on when Tench's son Brian steps into his private space and takes one of his pictures of a corpse. Holden, on the other hand, opts to deny himself and tries to separate the work from his personal life. However, it does spill over into his relationship with Debbie when he flips out over her wearing heels when they are about to get intimate. We later find Holden and Tench at an elementary school career day where Holden is telling the kids that the next serial killer might be among them. Among the strange things going on at the school is the principal's weird way of punishing the kids who misbehave. He punishes them by tickling their feet and giving them a nickel. This raises Holden's suspicion that he might be a deviant, and eventually Holden strongly suggests that they fire him from the school, which they do. The FBI also hires a new member of the team, Greg Smith, who is horrified by the tapes and the type of people that Holden and Tench talks to on a daily basis. Holden begins to delve deeper and deeper into his own findings and begins to come off like a serial killer in the making, as he begins to exhibit the traits of the serial killers that they interview. He later catches Debbie in a weird position and accuses her of cheating and is heartbroken when he suspects that he is correct, further pushing him down the path of becoming an eventual serial killer. Holden and Tench are then interviewing Richard Speck, who violated and murdered 8 women in one night. Holden is overtly excited for this interview, even bringing a binder and clippings of the murders, and is immediately shut down by Speck, who won't talk to FBI and who won't respond to the questionnaire that was created by Wendy. Holden then decides to go off script and asks Richard Speck what gives him the right to take 8 ripe cunts out of the world. Everyone is taken aback by this language. Tench is taken aback, and especially Speck, who is a serial killer. But then Speck begins to respect Holden and he begins to open up about his crime until Holden crosses the line. Holden then tells Greg to delete the portions of the recording where he crosses the line so that the unit chief and Wendy are unaware of what he did. Principal Wade's wife then comes to visit Holden at his house and chastises him for ruining their life. However, Holden threatens her, further showing off serial killer vibes. Greg, who is super straight edge, snitches on Holden and sends the tape to their superiors. Holden and Tench later catch a pedophile, and during the interview, Holden turns off the recording and gets vulgar and gets the killer/pedo to confess. After the confession, Holden is treated like a rock star by the local law enforcement and is put in the newspaper. Wendy tells Holden that he should not be putting himself out to the public like that, but Holden says that she's probably jealous that she isn't mentioned in the article. At this point, Holden is feeling himself. Holden then breaks up with Debbie after he gets her to confess to her infidelity, treating her like he treats the serial killers that he interviews. After Greg snitches, the team is called in and Holden is severely reprimanded for his actions in the interviews and with the tapes. Ed Kemper is hospitalized and Holden goes to visit him, and Kemper used the hospital to lure Holden to him and confesses he misses Holden and he could kill Holden as he towers over Holden. Holden runs away and has a panic attack, realizing just how dangerous these serial killers really are, and the season ends. We do get one final look at Dennis as he burns drawings of tortured women into a fire, thus setting up season 2. Anyway, guys, that's my recap of season 1 of Mindhunter. This is one of my favorite Netflix shows because it really made me uncomfortable, especially the conversations that they were having with the serial killers, as well as I could see Holden's descent into depravity. Anyway, guys, I'd love to hear your feedback in the comment section below. If you liked the video, definitely give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. And until next time, binge on.